Welcome to this predicted paper from onmaths. This paper represents the best guess for the upcoming exams. Please use this paper in addition to your other revision. You can complete a unique version of this paper by going to our onmaths site. onmaths is full of free content to help you prepare for your exams, such as topic-based papers, demon questions and mini mocks. If you like what we do, please consider subscribing. Enjoy! So if we imagine we've got the 25 meter pipe here, and we've got the 35 meter pipe here, the question's basically asking us what can we cut all these pipes into, and they all have to be the same length that will fit with the 25 meter and the 35 meter. And essentially what this question is asking is, what is the highest common factor of 25 and 35? So to find the highest common factor, what we do is we just find the factors of 25, which is 1 and 25 and 5 and 5, and the factors of 35, which will be 1 and 35 and 5 and 7. And the highest common factor is the number in both lists, the highest number in both lists, so it's 5. So what we can do is we can cut all of these pipes into 5 meter pipes. So 1, 2, 3, 4, not to scale, and then 7 of these, so 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, and so there's 7 in total. So each of these are 5 meter long, and there's no wastage, and that's the longest we can make the pipes for there to be no wastage at all. So my answer is 5 meters. First thing I'm going to do is just draw the square out, and we know the length of it is 10x plus 10, but it is a square, so that's the same all the way around it. But we're also told that the perimeter is 440, so the perimeter is 440. So what we can do is we can work out the perimeter in algebra by multiplying 10x plus 10 by 4, or just adding up the 4 lengths that we've got. So we're going to do 4 times 10x plus 10. But we also know that that is going to be 440 because we're told in the question that the perimeter is 440. So put our lines in because we're going to solve, and we're just going to start by expanding the brackets, so that'll be 40x plus 40 equals 440. Then we're going to get rid of the plus 40 first, so take away 40 both sides, and so that'll be 40x equals 400. And then we get rid of the 40 before the x, so we divide both sides by 40. And we've got x equals 10. So our answer is 10. So this question says that Adrian, Ben and Charlie have some sweets, and the ratio of Adrian to Ben to Charlie is 9 to 6 to 13. But it also says that Charlie got 56 more sweets than Adrian. So there's 56 more sweets. Well, looking at the actual parts of the ratio, there are 4 more parts. So plus 4 parts, which represent plus 56 sweets. So the 4 extra parts are worth 56 sweets. So 4 parts are worth 56 sweets. So 1 part would be 56 divided by 4, which is 14 sweets. So all we need to do now is work out how many parts there are. Well, there are 9 plus 6 plus 13 parts, which is 28. And each part is worth 14 sweets. So the total number of sweets will be 28 times 14. So 28 times 14 is 392. To find the exterior angle of any polygon, we do 360 divided by the amount of sides. These are decagons, which means they have 10 sides. So the exterior angles will be 36 degrees. And the exterior angle is just an angle that kind of continues on, you just continue on from the side. So this one here is the exterior angle of the left-hand decagon, and this one here is the exterior angle on the right-hand decagon. So altogether, the angle A will be 36 plus 36, which will be 72. So our answer will be 72 degrees. So for this frequency polygon, what we've got to do is work backwards to work out what the table was that created it. So we're going to just draw a starting of a table. And we're going to have our midpoint first, then our like money spent, our intervals, and then our frequency. So the first midpoint is at 40. And we can see here that that was, just get rid of that, that was between, like that was in this group here. So that is 0, and I'm just going to use M for money, 0 to 80. And the frequency is how high it is, which is 10. The next midpoint is here. So that was going to be 120. And we can see that that's between 80 and 160, and the frequency is 20. And finally the last midpoint is here, which is obviously 200, and that is between 160 and 240, and the height of it is going to be 7. So we're looking for the probability a customer spent less than 160, so that is these two here. Okay, so there are 30 that are less than 160. And how many are there altogether? Well, it's that 10 plus the 20 plus the 7. So it's going to be over 37. So it's 30 over 37. To find the smallest possible width, I'm just going to do a quick number line. And all I'm going to do is put 12.2 on our number line and figure out what the next number down will be. Well, if it's the nearest tenth, the next number down would be 12.1. That's the next number down it could have rounded to. And I'm just going to cut this number line in half and find out where our halfway point is. Well, the halfway point would be 12.15, and that's actually the minimum it could have been before it would have rounded to 12.1. So we're going to first of all work out where 9 is on the y-axis. Well, we've got 8 here and 10 here, so 9 will be halfway in between. And what we're going to do now is just draw a line across at 9, and then wait until it hits the line, and then we're going to draw a line down, and you can see here that x is 1. So our answer is that x equals 1. So we're given 21 to 4 is the ratio, and we're just going to have our lines in, because what we need to do is make the left hand side be 1. Okay? And to do that, for 21 I need to divide it by itself, divide it by 21, and we're going to do the same to the right hand side. So 21 divided by 21 is 1, perfect, that's what we wanted. 4 divided by 21 is 0.190 blah blah blah. It says it wants it to 2 decimal places, so it's going to be 1 to 0.19. The first thing we need to do is work out the area of the floor, and you'll notice that this is a trapezium. So with a trapezium, the formula is half a plus b times h, and a and b are the parallel sides, so these ones are the parallel sides, and the height is the one connecting the two bases, the two parallel sides. So we're going to start off by writing down the formula, so it'd be half a plus b h, so half times 2.8 plus 1.2 times 11. And when we do that, we get 22. So the area of the floor is 22 meters squared, and it says here that the tiles are sold in packs which cover 3 meters squared. So if each pack covers 3 meters squared, we're going to do 22 divided by 3, which will be 7.33 packs that we need. Now obviously you can't get 0.3 of a pack or 0.33 of a pack, so we're going to have to get 8 packs and just have some left over. So we'll need 8 packs in total. Okay, next thing we look at is the fact that the Jenny has a 25% discount. So we need to find out what 25% discount would do to the £18.60 for the tiles, or for the pack of tiles. And so what we're going to do is we're going to get the £18.60 and we're going to times it by 0.75. So we're just going to find 3/4 of it because she has a 25% discount, and that would be 1,395. So that's the tiles are going to cost £13.95. Now I've done this in pence and I've kind of muddled it together here, so really let's just go back because I've kind of done this in pence. So that would be 1,860 times 0.75, and so each pack will cost 1,395, and the reason we're doing this in pence is the answer needs to be given in pence, so I might as well just make that conversion now. And so it's going to be 8 lots of the 1,395 pence packs, which will cost in total 11,160 pence, or £111.60. But Jenny has £100 to spend, and we're asked how much extra does she need. So we're going to do the 11,160, take away the 10,000 pence that she has, which will give us 1,160 pence. So she needs to find £11.60 or 1,160 pence from somewhere. So the symbol here basically means and the way I remember it is if you draw that symbol and just put a line through it, you can make the word and. So we're looking at the probability of getting something that is in A and C. So the only ones that are in A and C are this 8 and this 9 here. So we're going to just add the 8 and the 9 together, which give us 17. Now we need to then work out how many numbers there are in total, so that's all of them. So 4 plus 8 plus 9 plus 5 plus 8 plus 3 plus 11 plus 6. So we need the total, which is 54. And then we get the 17, and we put that over the amount in total, so over 54. So it's really important, first of all, we make clear about how we convert things. So if I've got a unit in kilometers and I want to convert it into meters, then we know we just times it by 1,000. So 2 kilometers is 2,000 meters. But if I have something in kilometers squared and I want to convert it into meters squared, I actually times it by 1,000 squared, which is 1,000 times 1,000. Okay, so I'm actually times it by not 1,000, but 1,000 squared. So that's another 3 zeros. You can see here that that's 1,000,000. So we times it by 1,000,000. So 13 kilometers squared is going to be the 13, and then it's going to be times by 1,000,000. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So it's going to be 13 million. Now, it says here the farmer must pay 1 pence tax for every metre squared. So this is going to be 13 million metres squared. And so that's going to cost him, or her, 13 million pence. But the answer is going to be in pounds. So we just need to get rid of 2 of the zeros at the end. So it's going to be 13, 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's going to be £130,000. The formula for an exterior angle for a regular polygon is 360 divided by the amount of sides. Now here we're given the fact that the exterior angle is 30. and we're looking for n, so we just need to rearrange the equation. We can times both sides by n. And then divide both sides by 30. And so we've got n equals 360 divided by 30. And when you do 360 divided by 30, we get the answer of 12. So it's a 12-sided shape. So the first thing we're going to do is work out the area of the trapezium. And the formula for that is half brackets a plus b times h. Now a and b have to be the parallel sides. So here we've got the two parallel sides here. Just pick a different colour. Here and here. So that is a and b. And then the h is the perpendicular distance between them. So perpendicular means it hits it at right angles. So that's what we've got here. So the area would be half times a, which is 28, plus b, which is 14, times the height, which is 14. And so that would be 294. Next we'll do the circle. Now it doesn't look like we've got anything for the circle, but actually the height here is actually the height of the circle as well. So the height of the circle is the same as the diameter. So the diameter of the circle is 14. Therefore the radius would be half of that, which is 7. And the area of a circle is pi times the radius squared. So it would be pi times 7 squared, which will be 153.938 blah blah blah. And I'll keep that in my calculator, because next thing we'll do is the shaded area part, and it says we want to work out the area of the shaded region. So the area will be the total area, which will be the trapezium, take away the area that we don't want, which is this bit here, which will be the circle. So the trapezium's 294, the circle's 153.93 blah blah blah, and when you do that you get 140.061 blah blah blah. It says it wants it to 2 decimal places, so it would be 140.06. There's a very specific way to draw an angle bisector, and you start off with a pair of compasses and put the point on B, and then draw an arc from B. And it doesn't matter what the distance is, as long as it's kind of roughly maybe halfway between A and B. But it doesn't matter what the distance is. And then at the 2 points, so here and here, that our arc intersects line AB and BC, we're going to draw another arc up here. So I'm just going to show you, because it's normally easier. So an arc over here, and I'm going to do an arc from the other one over here. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to join where the 2 lines join with where the 2 arcs join. And that is how you do an angle bisector. All of the arcs leave on the diagram because they are going to get you the marks. Arcs for marks. So the first thing to notice with these simultaneous equations is the coefficient of y is the same. And so what we're going to do is just copy out the equations and just make them a bit bigger. And we're really looking at the signs before the 6 y's. And we'll eventually be going downwards. Now we're either going to be add or subtracting going downwards, and the point is to get rid of the y's. And these signs, if they are both the same sign, then we're going to subtract. If they are different signs, then we're going to add. So D in different is the D in add, the S in same is the S in subtract. So looking at them, they are both the same, so we're going to subtract. And we don't just subtract these ones, we subtract all of these. So we're going to look at the difference of all of these. So 6x take away 4x is 2x. 42 take away 32 is 10. Get our lines in, and we're going to divide 2 both sides. So 2x divided by 2 is obviously x, which is the whole point, and 10 divided by 2 is 5. So x equals 5 is our first solution, but we've got to find out what y is. And to do that, we're going to just substitute in the value of x into the first equation. So we've got 6 times 5 plus 6y equals 42, and then we're just going to solve that. So we get our lines in. And first thing we're going to do is take away the 6 times 5, or take away the 30 from both sides. So we've got 6y equals 12, and then we're going to divide by 6 both sides to get what y equals. So y equals 2. Now we can check that by putting the values of x and y into the second equation. So 4 times 5 plus 6 times 2, and that does equal 32. So the way this formula works is we have m, which is the final amount. The 2000 here is our initial amount. The decimal in here is our multiplier, and the power here is the amount of years. So the way multipliers work is they are the percentage divided by 100. So if we go the other way and times it by 100 to make it back into a percentage, it will be 102.9%. Now it says, what is the interest rate of the bank? Well, the interest rate is always going to be 100%. Well, this 102.9% is 100% plus the interest rate, which will equal the 102.9%. So the interest rate is going to be the 2.9%. You always start off with 100%. So if I put £5 into my bank, I've got 100% of that £5, and then the interest rate is on top of that 100%. So our answer here will be 2.9%. With these questions, it's normally easier to view these as 2 separate triangles. So we've got a small triangle here with 19 and 47. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to move this out. And we've got a bigger triangle here. And we've got, well, we've got a bit of, we don't really know what any of the sides are just yet, but we can work them out. Okay, now we know that both of these triangles are similar, and the reason is they share an angle and the lengths at the bottom are parallel, so they will be similar, which means one's an enlargement of the other. And we are given some information in the question that the ratio of BC to DE is 1 to 6. So BC is this length here, and DE is this length here. So we're actually given the scale factor because we know that 1 times 6 is 6. So we know the scale factor is 6, and it's asking us to find length AD. And so the corresponding length to AD, which is this one here. So all we need to do is get that 47, times it by the scale factor, so times it by 6 to get to our value. So it's 282. So this question will probably need a Venn diagram just to make it a bit easier. So I'm going to draw a Venn diagram. You don't need to. If you can work out how to do this question without, you can do. But I think this is a really tricky question to do without a Venn diagram. So it says that they picked 2 activities. It was either painting, which I'll put as a P, and sport, which I'll put as an S. So let's start filling in the information it gives us. So 11 picked painting and sport. So that will go in the middle, because that is painting and sport, and 11 didn't pick painting or sport, so they can sit on the outside. Now here's the problem. It says twice as many people picked sport than painting as one of their activities. So it's saying that the total number in, and let's just show it, the total number in the sports circle is twice as big as the total number in the painting circle. Now, what we can do is we can say, okay, so if the painting we label as X, then the sport will be 2X. But if you look, we've already got a number already in the sport, that 11 there. So in algebra, this will be 2X, take away the 11 that we already know about. And the painting is the same. We know the whole thing is X. So what we're going to do is we're just going to take away the bit we know there, which is the 11, and it will be X minus 11. Now we know that there are 66 students in total. So what we can do now is add up all of the parts of the Venn diagram and get it equal to 66. So X minus 11 plus 11 plus 2X minus 11 plus 11, and all of that will equal 66. This is going to be some solving, so we're just going to put our lines in. Now here we've got X plus 2X, which is 3X. And if I put my tool right, there we are. And we've got minus 11 plus 11, minus 11 plus 11. Well, those just cancel out. So we're left with just the 3X equals, and then 66. We're going to divide that 3 both sides. So we've got X equals 22. So if we go back to our Venn diagram now, we can fill in the blanks. So instead of X minus 11 there, we've got 22 take away 11, which is just 11. Instead of 2X minus 11 there, we've got 22 times 2, which is 44, take away 11, which will be 33. So it says, find the amount that picked sport and not painting, which is this 33 here. First thing we need to do is work out the volume of this prism, and it's a trapezium based prism. So the volume will be the area of the cross section, or area of the trapezium, times the length, how 3D the prism is. So trapezium is half a plus b h, and then times the length. Now A and B are the two parallel sides, which will be this one and this one. And then the H is the perpendicular line that hits both of them at 90 degrees, which is what perpendicular means, between the bases. So this will be the 25 meters here. So it's going to be half, and then we're going to add 1 and 5, times that by 25. The length is how 3D it is, so it would be that 10 there. So we're going to times that by 10, and that will give us 750. So it's 750 meters cubed. Now, there is a little formula we can make for the rate. So the rate of anything for this will be the volume gained over time. Now, with this question though, we're interested in the time it will take. It says how long will it take. So we're actually looking at the time. So it will be time equals the volume, which is 750, over the rate, which is 15. So 750 divided by 15 is 50. So it will take 50, and let's have a look. It says per minute. So it would be 50 minutes. So we can't work out length CE directly, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off by finding length BC. And I'm going to do that using trigonometry. So we've got the 90 degrees there. So it will be, well, we'll start by labeling it. So BC is the hypotenuse, the opposite here and adjacent here. We're not using the adjacent. So we're going to just do our SOHCAHTOA, and we've crossed out the A, so we cross out these two. So it's going to be sine. So we know that sine 79 equals the opposite, which is 29 over the BC. So I'm going to put my solving lines in. And we need to times both sides by BC first of all. So we end up with BC sine 79 equals 29. And we're just going to divide both sides by sine 79. Just a bit of rearranging. So BC will be 29 over sine 79. And when you do that on the calculator, you get 29.542, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so next thing we need to figure out is angle BCE. So where are we? This angle here. And to work that out, we're just going to take 79 away from 90. So angle BCE is 90, take away 79, and that's going to be 11. So we know this is 11 degrees here, and we have enough information now to work out CE, because we've got this triangle here, and we've got this length here, the BC, and we've got this angle here. So we've got enough information now. So we're going to look for length CE. We're going to first of all label the sides. So we've got the opposite here, the hypotenuse opposite the right angle here, and the adjacent here. So this hypotenuse is now an adjacent. We're not using the opposite at all, but we are looking for the hypotenuse. So let's do our little triangles now, find out which one we're using. So we're not using O, so we get rid of sine and tan, and it's going to be a cos. So it's going to be cos 11 equals the adjacent, which is the BC value we've just worked out, over the hypotenuse, which is CE. Now hopefully you've realised from when we did it with the sine thing here, that actually we can just swap these two things over. So we can have it as CE equals 29.542 blah 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 over cos 11. Okay, then we put that into our calculator and we get the answer of 30.095 blah blah blah, and it wants it to one decimal place, so that will be 30.1. The formula for the volume of a sphere is 4/3 pi r cubed. So we're going to do 4/3 times pi times the radius cubed, which is 17. And that gives us 20,579.526 blah blah blah. So to two decimal places, that would be 20,579.53. So vectors are shown with how far right at the top and how far up at the bottom. So we've got -3 right, which is actually going to be 3 left, and -2 up, which is actually going to be 2 down. So to start this off, what we're going to do is just put a point anywhere on this grid, and we're going to go 3 right, so 1, 2, 3, and we're going to go 2 down, so 1, 2. Let's show that point there, and then all we need to do is join up these 2 points with a straight line, and we need a direction. So we actually started at the top right one and went to the bottom left one, so the direction is going to be this, and it says it's vector A, so we're just going to label it with an A. To find the length of the rectangle, what we're going to do is we're going to get the area and we're going to divide it by the width. Now, the question says that it wants the minimum length, so we want the length to be as small as possible. Obviously, to do that, we want the area to be as small as possible. If the area is smaller, the length will be smaller. But let's have a look at a couple of fractions. So let's have a look at a half and 1 over 100. Which one of those fractions is the smallest? Well, it's 1 over 100, but what do you notice about the denominator? That as the denominator gets bigger, the fraction gets smaller. So to make something smaller, we actually want the denominator to be as big as possible. So we want the width to be as large as possible. So we're going to find the lower bound of the area. And an easy way to find a lower bound is find the accuracy. Well, it says the accuracy is to the nearest 10. And what we're going to do is halve that. So half of 10 is 5. And then we're going to take it away from the area. So it's 98,540, take away 5, which will be 98,535. Now for the width, we're going to do the same thing, half the accuracy, half of 10 is 5, but we're looking for the upper bound, we're looking for the biggest it can be. So we're going to add that on, 1, 2, 3, 5. And when you do that calculation, you get the answer of 79.78542, blah blah. And it says it wants it to 4 decimal places. So we're going to do 79.7854. So we're told that y is inversely proportional to the cube root of x. And to get rid of this proportionality sign here, we just convert it to an equals and times the right hand side by k, which represents a constant. And we now need to figure out what that constant is. So we're going to feed in the value of y and x that's given to us in the question. So we've got 10 equals k over the cube root of 343. Okay, next thing we're going to do is we're going to solve that. So put our lines in. Now the cube root of 343 is 7. So we can actually just, it's a lot easier. And we're just going to times both sides by 7. So k equals 70. And we're just going to rewrite this. But instead of k, we're just going to write 70. So y equals 70 over the cube root of x. We're going to start by working out what outcomes will give us 2 different types of drink. So we could have OA or AO. We could have AW or WA. And we could have OW or WO. Now what we notice really when we do this is that OA gives us the same probability as AO. Same with AW and WA, same with OW and WO. So we're going to just ignore the right hand side ones and we're just going to focus on the left hand side ones. To work out the probability of O and then A, so orange juice then apple juice, we work out the fact that it's 6 over, well, the probability of picking orange juice first of all is 6 over 27. And then if we picked an orange juice, the probability of picking an apple juice would be 9 over 26. And so that would be 54 over 702. Apple juice then water would be 9 over 27 and then 12 over 26, and so that would be 108 over 702, and then orange juice then water will be 6 over 27 and 12 over 26, and that would be 72 over 702. Now we're looking at the probability of this or this or this, and the word or means add. So the probability of OA or, I should put that in brackets, probability of OA or AW or OW is these added together. And when you add them together, you get 234 over 702. Now, I said we would deal with the reverse situations now. We're going to deal with that now. And as I said, OA is going to be equal to AO, AW is equal to WA, and OW is equal to WO. So all we need to do to find the probability that the drinks are different is get the 234 over 702 and just double it. And we can do that by just doubling the numerator. So 468 over 702. That cancels down to 2/3. So there is a 2/3 chance that the drinks will be different. We're asked to solve this quadratic. It doesn't look like a quadratic yet, but I'm sure it will do at some point. Now, the first thing with this question to focus on is the fractions. We're not going to be able to do anything with this question with those fractions there. And normally, if you see fractions or brackets in a question, the first thing you want to do is get rid of those. So I'm going to start by just copying the question down. So we've got 2 over, and let's just do the other over while I'm here. So we've got 2 over x minus 5. So we've got to get rid of the x minus 5, and we've got to get rid of this x plus 5. We've got plus 8 equals 0. And I'm going to just shift down so we've got loads of space here to be able to do this question, because this is going to be quite a lengthy question. Okay, the first thing I'm going to do is get rid of the fraction on the left hand side, and the way of doing that is I'm just going to times both sides by x minus 5. Now when you times both sides by something and there's more than one term on one of the sides, you've got to times each of the terms. So we're going to start by timesing the left hand fraction. Well, that will just get rid of the x minus 5 and just leave 2. Then we're going to times the second fraction. So when you times something by a fraction, you just times the numerator. So it becomes 5 brackets x minus 5 over x plus 5. And then we're going to times this 8. In fact, let's just try and keep our pluses consistent. So it would be 8 brackets x minus 5. Now 0 times anything is just 0, so this will just remain as 0. Okay, next we're going to times by the x plus 5 to get rid of that fraction. Both sides. So this will leave us with 2 brackets x plus 5. That will get rid of this fraction here, and we'll just leave the x minus 5, and then this will become 8 brackets x minus 5 brackets x plus 5. And 0 times anything is just 0. Okay, next thing we need to do is multiply out these brackets. So we're left with 2x plus 10 plus 5x minus 25 plus 8x minus, that's a quadratic, so that will be plus, let me try and work it out quickly, it was 8x squared plus 0x minus 200 equals 0. Now notice here in the brackets it's a difference of 2 squares. You've got an x minus 5 and an x plus 5, and difference of 2 squares end up with 0, the coefficient of x being 0. That's not really a surprise. Collect the like terms. So we've got 8x squared, and that's the only x squared we've got. We've got the 2x and the 5x and the 0x, so we've got a 7x. And we've got we've got plus 10, minus 25, and a minus 200. So what's that? That's minus 215 equals 0. Now, normally when you look at it it doesn't look like it will factorise. If this is on the calculator paper, chances are it will be a question on the on using the quadratic formula. If you look back at the question as well, the biggest clue is it asks for the answer to be to 2 decimal places, so it clearly won't factorise. So we are using the quadratic formula. So for our quadratic formula, we need to know what a equals, and a is the coefficient of the x squared, so a equals 8. We need to know what b equals, and that's the coefficient of the x, that's 7. And we need to know what c equals, and that's the number at the end, which will be minus 215. So the quadratic formula is x equals minus b plus minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac, and all of that over 2a. So what we're going to type into our calculator will be minus bracket 7. Now I always put them into brackets. You don't need to with this when it's positive, but when it's negative it really does help. Minus 4 times, and then a is 8 times, and then c is minus 215. And students get into problems when they don't put them into brackets. But if you put them into brackets, you'll always be covered. Okay, so to do this, you type that into your calculator with a plus, and you type it into your calculator with a minus. When you type it into the calculator with a plus, you get 4.765, blah, blah, blah. And when you type it into the calculator with a negative, you get minus 5.640, blah, blah, blah. And so that will lead to the solutions of 4.77 to two decimal places, and minus 5.64 to 2 decimal places. To find the inverse, we're going to first of all, instead of writing f of x, I'm just going to replace it with a y. And the trick of finding the inverse is to swap over the x and the y. So we're going to swap them over. I'm just going to do it over to the right hand side over here, so we've got a bit of space. Now the challenge is to get it so that it's y equals rather than x equals. So we're going to start off by multiplying both sides by 4. And that will give us 4x on the left hand side, and it will get rid of the fraction on the right hand side, which was kind of the point. Next we're going to get rid of that minus 6, so we're going to add 6 both sides. And then finally we're going to get rid of that times 5 there by dividing both sides by 5. So we've got 4x plus 6 over 5 equals y. And we use y as a replacement for the inverse function of x. And so we're just going to say the inverse function of x, which is what that minus 1 means. It means inverse, equals 4x plus 6 over 5. So to find the shaded part of this diagram, we need to first of all work out the volume of the smaller cone, which is at the top. Then work out the volume of the larger cone, which is the whole cone shown, and then take them away from each other. So the radius for the smaller cone is 4 and the height is 5. And the radius for the larger cone is 20 and the height is the 20 plus the 5, so it would be 25. So I'm just going to label them A and B. And so why don't we work out the volume for B first? And the formula for the volume of a cone is 1/3 pi r squared h, with h being the perpendicular height. So it's 1/3 times pi times 20 squared times 25, which is going to be 10,471.975, blah, blah, blah. We're going to work out the volume for A, and this time it will be 1/3 times pi times the radius now is 4, and the height is 5. So that will be 83.775, blah, blah, blah. So to work out the shaded bit, we're just going to do the volume for B, take away the volume for A. So it's going to be 10,471.975, take away 83.775. And all those I'm going to keep in the calculator to keep the accuracy. And that gives us 10,000 388.199, blah, blah, blah. And to 2 decimal places, it's going to be 10,388.20. So we have the original y equals fx shown in the graph, and it says it has a minimum at 1 minus 1, so it's this one is the black line here. And we're looking to see the new function, the red function, but we notice that actually it looks very similar. It's a U shape for what we can see. It might not be a quadratic, but it looks like a quadratic. And we notice that the point at the bottom has shifted left 1, 2, 3 spaces. Now it's tempting to think that the new function will be f brackets x minus 3. That would be what would be tempting to do, but when you're looking at transforming graphs along the x-axis, it's actually the opposite of what you think. So the actual answer is f brackets x plus 3. So this one would be wrong. A simple trick when you're finding the inverse of a function is to replace or to switch the y and the x. Now we don't actually have a y in here, but we can just put one in. It's not a problem. So we can just rewrite this function as y equals x over 10 minus 11. And we're just going to switch around the y and the x. So x equals y over 10 minus 11. Now the objective now is to get the y on its own, to make y the subject. So we're going to first of all add the 11 both sides. And I've made an amateur move here. I've not left myself enough room, so let's just scoot that across. Okay, so add the 11, so it would be x plus 11 equals y over 10. Next thing we're going to do is multiply by the 10 to get y on its own. So it would be 10 brackets x plus 11 equals y. Expand those would be 10x plus 110 equals y. Now this doesn't equal y. We are looking for the inverse function with this notation here. So we just replace the y with this notation and we get 10x plus 110. With this question, we're going to first of all have to find a length before we can find the length AF. And it does involve us thinking in 3D. What I find sometimes useful though is to draw kind of a 2D representation of the 3D. So I'm going to look at this triangle here and I'm going to notice that I need to find length BF. That's going to be my objective at the start of this. So I'm just going to draw out this triangle again, but in 2D just to make it a bit easier. And BF is this length here, this is 6 and then this is 9. So we're going to use Pythagoras, so it will be sort of a squared plus b squared equals c squared, so it would be 6 squared plus 9 squared equals bf squared. 6 squared plus 9 squared is 117. And then we just get our solving bit in, just to square root both sides. And I can leave this as square root 117 for now. Okay, the actual length that we want is AF, which is this one here. And I'm going to create the right angle triangle using this bit here. So let's just draw that out. Now the top bit is AB, which is the same as the bottom. It's going to be 14. It's going to be the same as EF. Then the BF we've just found is root 117, and we're looking for AF. And this is the right angle. I didn't show the right angle on the other one, but it should be there. Okay, so we're going to use our a squared plus b squared equals c squared. And a squared is 14 squared plus square root of 117 squared equals AF squared. So 14 squared is going to be 196. Now, root 117 squared is just going to get rid of the square root, so it's just going to be 117. And when you add them together, you get 313. And again, get our solving lines in. Square root both sides. And this time we're actually going to square root 313 because we need a decimal answer. So it would be 17.691 blah blah blah. It's equal to AF. And it says to 2 decimal places, so that's going to be 17.69 centimetres. You can complete a unique version of this paper by going to our onmaths site. onmaths is full of free content to help you prepare for your exams, such as topic-based papers, demon questions and mini mocks. If you like what we do, please consider subscribing.